Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. In today's tutorial, we are going to show you how you can set up an Azure Automation account, and using that Azure Automation account, how you can automatically start and stop a virtual machine using a custom schedule. So let's say, for example, that you have got a virtual machine that you do not run 24/7 or all the time, but you need that virtual machine to start automatically during your patch window and automatically shut down at the end of the patch window. So instead of doing this manually, you can use Azure Automation feature to automatically set up two runbooks to start and stop your Azure virtual machine at a predefined schedule automatically. And this can be a recurring job. For example, you can say third week of every month on Saturday, I want the virtual machine to come online, and the next day or the Sunday of the third week of every month, I want the virtual machine to stop. So you're not charged for it anymore. So that's what we're going to achieve in this video tutorial. This is going to be a bit of a long video, so I hope you guys stay focused, and if you've got any questions, do not forget to put a comment below and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Without further ado, let's go ahead and see how this is done. So as you can see, I've logged into portal.azure.com using my global administrator account. This is the test virtual machine that we're going to use in this demonstration. Just a basic virtual machine, nothing too complicated there. And there are a couple of things that you need to do in this virtual machine before it is ready for using Azure Automation Runbox. So first of all, let me just bring out my notepad. So these are the steps that we're going to do. So we need to prepare the VM, which is what we're going to do next. And then we're going to create an Azure Automation account. We're going to create two runbooks, one to start the Azure virtual machine and one to stop it. And then we're going to set up permissions, and then we're going to go ahead and do the testing. All right, guys, let's go ahead and see how this is done. Now, I have remotely logged into my virtual machine. Now let's open up PowerShell as administrator. So right click and run as administrator. Let me just bring it to the recording window. Now the first thing that we need to do is we need to check the you can pause this video and copy these commands. I'll put them in the YouTube description box as well, so you can get it from there. The first thing that we need to do is check the version. So it needs to be either 5.1 or 7.2. 7.2 is the recommended. 5.1 will also work. So by default these days it's 5.1 depending on your operating system. But make sure it's either 5.1 or 7.2. Now the next thing to do is make sure that Azure PowerShell module is installed on this VM, because that's the PowerShell module that's used by the script in the automation runbook to automatically start and stop the virtual machines. So what I'm going to do is, this is a brand new test virtual machine, so it does not have it. But before we install it, we need to check the execution policy. It needs to be at least remote signed or less restrictive. So let me just minimize that window, and we're just going to check what is the current execution policy. It is remote signed, which means signed scripts can run. The next level down, the least secure one, is unrestricted. Sometimes you have to set the execution policy to unrestricted in certain scenarios, but in this situation I don't believe we have to do that. Remote signed should work. So let's go ahead and run this command to install the Azure PowerShell module. Hit enter. Now make sure your Azure virtual machine has got outbound internet, because this script talks to the outbound internet and gets the PowerShell module. So click Y, type Y and hit enter. Okay, now this is a very big PowerShell module. It can take a while, so be patient and let it run. So while this happens, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and create the Azure Automation Account. So let me just minimize this and we'll come back to it. So back in Azure, look for Automation Accounts. If you search for Automation, you will see Automation Accounts in the services. So just click over there and click Create Automation Account. Make sure to select the appropriate subscription if you've got a couple of subscriptions. Now, resource group, I'm just going to select the existing test resource group. And automation account, I'm just going to call it Automation Test 1. And I'm just going to leave the region as the same as the region of the virtual machine. So I'm using Central India in this tutorial, but make sure that you set up the region to be in the same region as where your other Azure resources are. And click Next. I'm going to leave it as system assigned. You can go with user assigned as well, but it's not required in this case and would add additional steps. So let's just leave it as system assigned. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the difference between system assigned and user assigned. Just remember that system assigned is a managed identity that is managed by Microsoft. User assigned identities give you more flexibility and can be used with different Azure resources. A system assigned is a identity that's managed by Microsoft. So in this case, let's just go with system assigned. But if you've got further questions or want to know more about these two types of identities, put your questions in the comment section. And the next one is networking tab. So by default, the connectivity is set to public access. And I always recommend, if you can go with private links, go with private links or private access. If I can show you this text from Microsoft official documentation, I'll put this in the YouTube description so you can get it from there. But if you want to go with private access option, you need to configure a hybrid runbook worker in the Azure Automation Account, and it does not support cloud jobs. So this might mean that in your case, you will only have public access as the option to go with. Which is what we're going to do in this tutorial. So I'm just going to leave it as public access and go next. I don't need to put any tags, and just going to click review and create, and then create again. So let's just go back to the virtual machine, and as you can see, it's still installing the Azure PowerShell package. So this can take a few minutes. So let's let it do its thing. And I am just going to minimize it. So Azure Automation Account has been created successfully. So what we'll do is let's go back to the actual automation account. And in here, we need to create two runbooks. So one runbook is for starting the Azure Virtual Machine, and the other one is for stopping the Azure Virtual Machine. So let me just click the run box, and then what I'm going to do is create a new runbook. Let's call it Start Test VM1. Runbook type PowerShell. Runtime version 5.1. This is why we checked in the first step to make sure that the runtime version of PowerShell is actually 5.1. You can also use 7.2 if you've got 7.2, and in fact that's the recommended, but 5.1 should be fine. You can give it a description if you like. I'm just going to leave it empty and click Review plus Create, and then Create. Okay, so now in here we need to put some commands in. I've already got the commands ready to go. So this command is for starting the virtual machine, and this command in here is for stopping the virtual machine. So what we're going to do is we are going to do the start script first. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm not sure if it will allow me to put the script in the YouTube description box. I don't know if there will be enough characters, but if you need a copy of the script, just send me an email and I will give it to you in response. So when you're emailing, if you email me, just make sure that you put a comment so I know to check my inbox. So let me just copy this and then Control V to paste it. So I'm just going to change these values. So the resource group name, let me actually check what the resource group name is. I believe it is test RG1. And the virtual machine name, the virtual machine that we want to control using this script is test VM1, I believe. Yep, so that's test VM1. So I'm going to copy that value and put it in here. Okay, now you need to put the subscription ID as well. This is a unique value, so make sure that you get your values correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to subscriptions, get my subscription ID, and put it in there, and that's it. So let me just save this and then publish. Okay, so that's all done. And now what we're going to do is we are going to create the second runbook, which is for stopping the virtual machine. So let me just say stop VM test 1, PowerShell 5.1, review and create. And in here, we're going to use this script. Okay, let me just paste it. Okay, we're gonna change the variables or the values here. So my resource group name is test RG1. VM name is test VM1, and then the subscription ID again. Okay, that looks good. Save, and then remember to publish it. Okay, so now we've got 2 runbooks ready to go, and the next thing is to create a schedule. So let's just presume that the virtual machine is stopped. So what we're going to do is, let me just actually confirm that the Azure PowerShell module is installed. Yep, it has been installed successfully. So I'm just going to exit now, and let me just go back to the virtual machine, and I'm just going to stop this so I can show you how this script is going to work. Let me just click that. So it's stopping the virtual machine. So let's go back to the automation account. Right. Okay, so now we've got 2 runbooks in here, start and stop test VM. I got the names inconsistent, but don't worry about that. So let's click on the start runbook, and we're going to create a schedule. Add a schedule. So select link a schedule to your runbook. Okay. If you don't have any schedule, you can add a schedule. So I want this to be, let me just give it a name. So start schedule, and then we'll just set it as recurring. Make sure that you select the correct time zone. So I want this to run every month, right? So, but your schedule requirements might be different. But in this tutorial, I'm just going to use third Saturday of every month. Let's say, for example, I want to start this VM. So we are in November at the moment. So let's say I want third Saturday, and I don't want it to expire. I don't want it to run on last day of the month. And I think the rest looks good. So the start date of the schedule is from today at the time of recording this video, which is good. So it's going to happen once every month. If I go on to weekdays, actually, I think that's what I should do. So, and recur every third Saturday. Right, so this is the schedule. It looks good. So this is the starting schedule. So starting date is today. Time zone is Australia, which is where I'm based in. And then I wanted this schedule to reoccur once every month on weekdays. So I want it to happen on third Saturday of every month, and I do not need the schedule to expire. So this looks good. Let's click create. Okay, so the new schedule has been created. Yep, you don't need to actually put the values in here because you've already provided them in the script. So you're all good to go. So just click OK and then click OK. Right, so if I refresh it, yep, I can see the start schedule. Now I'm going to create the stop schedule. So let me just go back to Runbox, click on the stop runbook, and then go to schedule, and then click add a schedule link to your runbook. Now this is for starting, so we need to create a new schedule for stopping. So I'm just going to say stop schedule. Okay, this looks good. I want it to be recurring, and I want it to happen once a month, and I want to specify which day. So I want it to stop on the third Sunday. So we are starting the virtual machine on the third Saturday, and we're shutting it down on the third Sunday. So it has 24 hours for the patching to be done. So that's the hypothetical schedule that I've used. Obviously, you may have different requirements, so make sure that your schedule is created properly. And I've set the expiry to never. So click create. Okay, so that's good. And yeah, the default values are going to get extracted from the script that we have put in the runbook. So as I mentioned before, you don't have to do anything here. So just click OK and click OK. Right, it'll take a few seconds. Okay, so the stop runbook has got the stop schedule, and the start runbook has the start schedule. Okay, now the next thing that you need to do is you need to set permissions, because the virtual machine does not have any connection to this automation account's system assigned identity. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and provide permissions for this account. So I'm going to give virtual machine contributor role. Always give the least amount of permissions that you need for the job. So I could have given contributor or owner, but that's not recommended at all. So always start with the least role that is enough to just get the job done. So this is the identity. This is the object principal ID. So what I'm going to do is I am going to copy that. And let's go to the virtual machine. Okay. And access control. Add role assignment. This is the only managed identity that I've got in this tenant, so it might automatically select it. But if you've got many, just make sure that you're giving the correct permissions to the correct system assigned managed identity. So virtual machine contributor is a role that I want. Select managed identities, select members, manage identity automation account, and it's the only option I have, so just gonna select that, click select, next, and review and assign. So the permissions are set. Let me just go back to the steps and see if we've done everything correctly. So we checked the version of the PowerShell runtime in the test virtual machine, made sure it was 5.1 or could be 7.2 in your case. We created the Azure Automation Account. We created the runbox just before we set up permissions. And the only thing left to do is testing. So obviously, you don't have to wait until the next time the automation scripts or the runbooks are going to run. You can manually run the script and make sure at least it works from a script point of view. The script actually works fine. And then on the actual day, you can just log into your Azure and make sure that it has worked properly. You will also be able to check the logs within the automation test account or automation account. So let's just go to the run box, and I just want to show you one thing. If you go to run box, actually go to schedule. Okay, so if you want to know when the next run is going to happen, this schedules option will tell you every month the next run. So let's say fast forward to the 16th, it will start the virtual machine, and on the 17th it will stop the virtual machine, and on the 18th, if you log into Azure portal, go to your Azure Automation account and click under schedules. You're going to see a different date here, which is in December when it is going to run. So that's pretty handy, and obviously it's going to tell you the time zone and the status of the schedule as well, which is pretty cool. Right, okay, so let's go back to Runbox. Now at the moment the virtual machine is in stopped state, deallocated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the runbook, and if the runbook has been configured successfully, it's going to start the virtual machine. So the status of the virtual machine should change to start. So let's go to start test virtual machine, and then I'm going to click start. So this is we're manually testing the runbook to make sure that it works. So it's going to tell you the values it's going to use, which is the values that were included in the actual script, which is good. So I click OK. Right, now the status is queued, so this can take a couple of, well, I shouldn't say a couple of minutes. It's usually faster than that, but with Azure, it's not always possible to predict how long it's going to take. Oh, this seems to be running now, so it's starting. So let me just refresh the virtual machine page and see the status is still stopped, deallocated. Okay, now the status of the runbook has changed to running, which means it should be doing its thing. So let's be a little patient and we'll see what the outcome is. Okay, so the status has changed to unknown, which means it's doing its thing. It should quickly return to running status, but I might have to... Yep, there we go. So the virtual machine has been started by the runbook, and it has been completed. So this is what you want to see, which is great. We have proved that this automation works, the runbook works. So that's for starting the virtual machine. Let's go to the stop runbook, and we'll run it again, and that should... I'm just going to click OK, and that should stop the virtual machine. Okay, let's give it a few seconds. It's running at the moment. Okay, there we go. So the stop runbook has also worked perfectly because I can see now the virtual machine has been stopped. And if I go back and check the status, it says completed as well. So guys, this is it for this tutorial. If you stayed with me thus far, thank you for your time. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Help me reach 1,000 subscribers. If you've got any questions, as I mentioned earlier, put it in the comment section below. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.